What's up, everybody? This is Oklahoma Prepper. Today we're going to be doing a very different video. This is not really much to do with prepping, um, but I will be taking you guys along with the journey. I've got some big important news. It's not necessarily good, but it's not necessarily bad either. Uh, I I've been having some stomach issues for the last couple of days. Today's the fifth day actually. So I've been having stomach complications for the last 4 days, and so yesterday I ended up going to the hospital. Went to the emergency room and talked to them about it, and uh, turns out my gallbladder's dying, so I'm gonna end up having to have surgery. Um, I'm waiting on a call from from the surgeon, the follow-up surgeon, or the surgeon consult, so that they can call me and set me up an appointment so I can schedule my surgery. Um, so I'm a little bit worried because I've been under 4 times, and I've had 3 operations, and each operation was a complication. I woke up in every one of my surgeries. Um, so with my appendectomy, that was really scary because I had my appendectomy done about 10 years ago, and it was so bad that it was open appendectomy. It wasn't laparoscopic. So with that, when that happened, I went into the emergency room at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Or no, I'm sorry. I was fishing that night before. I was fishing with my buddies out of a local creek, and I ended up, we called it a night about 1 o'clock. We all went home, went to bed, and the next morning, or later that morning, about 5 o'clock, I woke up with some severe stomach pain. So I got up and went to my dad's house and told him, I said, hey, I think you need to go with me. I think I'm going to go to the emergency room because I have some really bad stomach pain, and it's not something I felt before. It's not normal. He said, all right, let's go. So we went up to the emergency room, the local hospital here at the county, and I went in about 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's just 10-minute drive, but whatever. So I drove myself. Walked in there and everything, and they started blood work, and then they took all my vitals, and then sent me to X-ray, and then sent me to CT with contrast, and turned out that I had appendicitis. Well, the doctor said, I don't justify calling a helicopter in to send you. So I'm like, all right, I understand that. And she said, I really don't even see justifying an ambulance trip. It's like, I'm an EMT. Appendicitis is what we call a true emergency. It's real. And she didn't want to do that, so I was like, all right, whatever. So my buddies ended up taking me to the hospital. And one of my friends that went with me, she was an EMT at the time too. Or she's still an EMT, but she's an EMT then with me on the ambulance service. So I was like, okay, that was a little comforting. So we ended up remember, I went into the first hospital at 5 o'clock in the morning, about 5:30 in the morning. And I got to the transferring hospital at 9 o'clock at night. So, and drove myself, and that's about an hour away. So I walked in, and I'm like, hey, I'm a transfer from the other hospital. She said, you didn't come by ambulance? I said, no, she didn't think I needed to. So she said, all right, well, come on in. And they put me in a room, and me and my buddy were just sitting there, and they started an IV on my hand, and 10 minutes. I was in the hospital for 10 minutes. And the surgeon walks in and was looking at my X-ray and my CT scan. And he said, we've got to get you upstairs, and we've got to get it out because your appendix is bad. I was like, what? Really? I mean, I drove myself here, you know? So, me and my buddy are just looking at each other like, what? Like, really? It's like, we were dumbfounded. And, so they were like, yeah, we got to get you upstairs now. So I was in that building for 10 minutes before I started going upstairs, up into the surgery room. And the nurse came in with a wheelchair and a bunch of stuff. And she said, I need you to change into this uh, on our way up. And I'm like, on our way up? She's like, yeah, start taking your shirt, put this gown on. I'm like, what? And I actually was changing in the elevator up on the way up. And they wheeled me into the operating room and they set me down on the table, and I got to look around and see all the cool stuff that they had out, all the tools and stuff, the instruments that they had out. And it was really cool because the operation room, the OR tech walked in and said, "Time out." And everybody stopped what they were doing and turned around and looked at her, and she said, "All right, guys, we're here for or she asked me, she said, "What's your name?" I told her my name, the Oklahoma Prepper. And she said, "What are you here for?" I said, "Appendectomy." She said, "All right, we're going to do an open appendectomy on this patient." She asked me how old I was. I can't remember at the time. I don't know. It's like 23, maybe 22. I don't know, 21. I don't. But anyways, yeah, she had it was pretty cool, and I watched them draw up the meds, the knockout meds, and everything. My anesthesiologist was like, "Hey, I need you to tilt your head back when you lay down." I said, "Or open my airway." I told him, I said, "Yeah, I got to open my airway." He's like, "Oh, we kind of chit chatted about the ambulance thing and knowing medical stuff." But anyways, so I watched them strap my arms down and all this kind of cool stuff, and then they started to put me to sleep, and they said count back from 10 to 1, 10 to 0. I counted back 10, 9. I was out. Um, so the thing is, I forgot to tell them that I have a gag reflex, and that way they would have known not to intubate me the way they did, or put that air hose in my throat. And so I ended up waking up in the middle of surgery and was biting down on the tube because I was gagging on it. I was choking on it. So I remembered, how they had strapped my arm, so I slid my arm under that strap and reached up to pull that tube out. And the nurse, one of the nurses or somebody, grabbed my arm and held it down. And then I started to aspirate. And when I did, I tilted my head over to the side, let everything spill out so I wouldn't choke on it. And somebody grabbed a suction hose and started suctioning my mouth. So I kind of relaxed. I was like, okay, they got this. They know what they're doing now. I got their attention. And so I went back to sleep. I ended up waking back up. Remember, I went in, I was in that building for 10 minutes before I ended up laying on the operating table. So about 9:10 is whenever I ended up going up to surgery. At 9:55, I woke up from surgery. And the surgeon was in there like, "Hey, what's your name?" It's like, "The Oklahoma Prepper." "What day is it?" "It's this day." "Who's the president?" He said, whatever. I told him, and he said, "Well, you know where you're at?" I said, "Yeah." I told him, I said, "Yeah, I just had an appendectomy. I'm at the hospital." He said, "Yeah, we had some complications. Everything's okay, but a lot of things could have went wrong. If you would have been 5 minutes later, it would have done some damage. We would have had to open you up from your chest all the way down." He said, "If you would have been 15 minutes later, you would have been dead. It would have killed you. It was so bad." I said, "All right." He said once I had got the appendix out and was cutting it away from your body, it had ruptured in my hand. It's like, whoa, that's crazy. He said, yeah. So I managed to get, nothing got into your body, so you're safe. But we're gonna keep you for a few days just to make sure. I said, all right. He said also, next time you have surgery, don't wake up in the middle of surgery, because that could have been bad. I was like, all right. I just, I was choking and wanted to let you guys know somehow. And so yeah, um, it was a pretty scary thing. I ended up being in the hospital for 5 days, but it was a pretty scary thing having to go through all that. But at the same time, I kept my cool because, as an EMT, we're taught to keep calm under a lot of pressure, and they they were all impressed as how calm I was when all this happened. That I'd calm down once they started suctioning, and I explained to them. I said, "Yeah, I'm an EMT. I know that once that starts happening, I get your guys' attention enough that y'all start doing that, then I'm gonna be okay." So. But anyways, so yeah, I'm really worried about my gallbladder, my upcoming gallbladder surgery, and I'm really worried about the complications that I'm having with it right now. So, but I will keep you guys posted. I'm actually going to take you guys with me on my little journey through gallbladder surgery. So, and if I can, I'm gonna get that thing recorded. I want to get it. I, Man, I like that kind of stuff. So, of course, I worked on an ambulance, and I'm a firefighter, so I got I'm used to it really, seeing that crazy kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely going to take you guys along for the ride with me, and at least you guys won't have to. Hopefully, you guys will never have to experience either one. But there is a little bit of a prep to there's a little prepping theory behind your gallbladder and your appendix, because in an SHTF situation, it's not like you can be careful and not break an arm or not cut your arm open or something like that. Your appendix and your gallbladder doesn't care when, it doesn't care who, and it doesn't care what your diet is. It doesn't care how healthy you are. None of that. If it's time for your gallbladder or your appendix to go, it's going to go. So, yeah, that's something to keep in mind when you got, in an SHTF situation. Luckily, I'm getting my gallbladder out. My appendix is gone. So after that, I won't have any any other. My chances of insignificant organs failing and possibly killing me are diminished. Of course, you can have organ failure, you can have lung, heart failure, liver failure, you can all that kind of stuff. So, I got to take care of all this, but yeah, I worry about the complications with surgery. So I know it's probably going to be a laparoscopic surgery, and this is not going to be my last surgery either. I still got to have my back worked on. I got to have back surgery. So, but yeah, I do apologize for not posting any videos. I've been having some issues with my back, and I've not been able to do much. I haven't even got anything prepped for summer, I'm out of firewood, so I'm kind of luckily. It's cold at night, but it's not nearly as cold as it has been. So, we're kind of getting by at the time. And it's really hard because I'd like to get out and do stuff. But anyways, guys, I appreciate your time, lending me your time and sitting here while I'm blabbing. I appreciate every one of y'all's dedication to watching my channel, even though I don't post videos very much, and I do apologize. But hopefully you guys know now why, and can appreciate why I haven't done it and understand. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I wanted to say that as soon as I get everything scheduled and the doctor lets me know everything, I will let you guys know what's going to go on and what's going to happen. And that way you guys can, if you guys ever have this issue, you guys know what to expect and how things are going to work roughly, because every hospital, every facility is different. Every doctor's different. You know, they could have kept me last night and did surgery today, you know, whatever. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate y'all's help, y'all's dedication. I appreciate y'all's views, like your likes, your comments, your subscribes, and like I said, I'll keep you guys updated on what's going on as it happens, and let you guys ride with me through my journey of the gallbladder apocalypse. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Thanks, everyone, for everything, and stay safe and keep prepping.